Félix Tshisekedi. Nous sommes derrière le président Tshisekedi.
Nous sommes prêts à combattre pour dégager l'ennemi pour notre souveraineté de notre pays. Il faut combattre. C'est lui qui veut la paix, il faut combattre. Prendre des armes et combattre, mon frère Félix.
Those includes the safety, medical assistance for those in need, food and nutrition, and also provision of basic materials for them to be fine here.
We have online Shelley Takral from Kinshasa. Good morning, madam. Can you brief our journalists on the situation of food in East?
The humanitarian situation in and around Goma remains extremely worrying. And again this morning, our colleagues in the Democratic Republic of the Congo report heavy small arms fire and mortar fire across the city and the presence of many dead bodies in the streets. We have reports of rapes committed by fighters, looting of property, including of a humanitarian warehouse, and humanitarian and health facilities being hit. Hospitals in Goma are reportedly overwhelmed, struggling to manage the influx of wounded people. Electricity and water supplies are compromised, and yesterday internet services were cut off, and Goma is still offline this morning. Since the flare-up of hostilities in the beginning of the year, hundreds of thousands of people have attempted to flee the violence, including the 700,000 people already displaced and living in dire conditions on the outskirts of Goma. On Friday, sites hosting at least 300,000 internally displaced people were completely emptied due to the rapid advancement of the front lines. Non-essential humanitarian staff have been relocated to reduce risks, but critical personnel remain in Goma. In the UN's emergency fund, the SURF has immediately allocated $17 million to support the humanitarian response. The humanitarian coordinator in the DRC, Bruno Le Marquis, has called on all parties to agree on temporary humanitarian pauses in the most affected areas and establish humanitarian corridors to ensure humanitarian activities can resume at scale and facilitate the safe evacuation of wounded people and civilians trapped in combat zones.
The humanitarian crisis in the DRC has further deteriorated since our last briefing to you on Friday, with now nearly 500,000 people displaced in North and South Kivu provinces in January alone. Hundreds of thousands have been forced to flee multiple active conflict zones, and the capacity to accommodate and assist them is now saturated. Many of those displaced have fled violent attacks, including the use of heavy artillery, targeting internally displaced people sites. These are spaces that are intended to provide safety and refuge. These attacks have destroyed shelters, essential infrastructure, and tragically claimed many lives.
Dans le Congo, mais déjà nous sommes déjà assujettis par les rebelles des M23, et là on voit comme si nous sommes déjà dans double patrie. Nous sommes au Congo en même temps qu'au Rwanda, mais c'est ce que nous nous demandons, qu'est-ce qui va être la suite de cette situation, parce que nos soldats ne sont plus là, mais nous sommes déjà envahis par les militants des M23. C'est ce qui est la situation dans cette ville. Bon, vraiment, ça me fait du mal parce que en voyant qu'on a changé les régimes, le régime de la RDC n'est plus dans le nord, dans la province du Nord Kivu. Ça nous fait du mal, nous, en tant que citoyens natifs du pays. Mais ce que nous demandons est que vraiment ceux qui sont derrière cette situation, il y a encore l'espoir. Il y a encore l'espoir de racheter les choses et de nous donner encore un avenir merveilleux, un avenir florissant.
Petit na panze mabe. Panzani. Abeta isu o lokolo. Chodi so na victoire. Onde msapibile katani dena.